Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Autastic. It's my honor to be part of this podcast for 6 years. We've been doing this. Unbelievable. This is your Comedian's Guide to Autism. My name is Kirk. This is my buddy
Graham K. Hello, everybody.
Boom. This is your Comedian's Guide to Autism. A little behind the scenes info. Graham-O is in Arizona, which if you're going to go to Arizona, this is the time of year, April. You don't want to go there in August, so it's probably still 80 degrees out there, but yeah.
It's 100. It's going up to 100 today.
Perfect. You got a sweatshirt on. I see you. You're dressed appropriately.
Well, they crank up the AC in hot climates.
That's true. They do.
And in cold climates, they crank up the heat.
Yep.
Everyone's uncomfortable all the time.
And speaking of cold, I just flew in from Sweden. I literally was at Penn Station. No, not Penn Station. Newark. Got a message from Grandma. You want to record now? And I hightailed it back from
You
Newark
messaged me.
But I messaged you and we had confirmed for tomorrow. And then you messaged like, hey, can you do it in an hour? And then I came from Newark to Penn Station, straight home, wearing the same clothes that I got up this morning in Sweden. It was snowing in Sundsvall. And it was great to see JJ. He's doing great. We had a kind of intense, not intense, but, the backstory is we've been trying to get him a job. He's scheduled through the state. He's eligible as a dual citizen / Swedish citizen to have a job. And so he gets, that's, his right as a citizen of a country like Sweden that prioritizes their disabled. There's money for those programs, which is a sore spot for me that there's sometimes it's hard to get money here, but for programs like that. But when there's a war somewhere, we get to pay for that somehow.
Yep.
Sweden could pay for their own wars. It's not Sweden, but Europe has money. They're bigger than us, and they have more money than us. They can pay for their own stuff. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. But we had a meeting with, I don't want to use the names of the people, but the guy, I'll just say the guy.
So in a way, American taxpayers are funding.
And this is the one of the reasons I don't feel bad about it. Yeah.
You are funding JJ's programs through your taxes in a way.
Well,
because you're paying for Swedish military.
Swedish,
and then they don't have to spend money. They don't have to spend money on it, so they can put money towards your child. So that's a nice way to think about it. As American taxpayers, we are all helping autistic children in Europe
by protecting, so they can spend less on their defense and fund more of their social programs. I don't disagree.
Bombs for autism.
I don't know if that's a good bumper sticker to sell after your show, but
maybe not. Well,
but we had a meeting with the guy at the commune who's in charge of it. There's two ladies that I've been messaging relentlessly, bombarding them with emails. I'm like, I took the old Shawshank Redemption philosophy. Like, if you send one letter a week and he gets $250 and some books, maybe if I send 2 letters a week, they can't ignore me forever. That's Andy Dufresne's thing with the books in the Shawshank. Anyway, so I've been harassing these ladies. Not harassing. Following up persistently with these ladies. They finally gave me their boss's email. So I met with him. I wasn't super... I felt like he was saying all the right things, but I also feel like the last person in his position, he's only been in this position 6 months, was only there a year, and then they put me off, and then the person moves up and becomes mayor or does something else, and then I'm following up with somebody else.
Right.
So he gave me his bosses and then the mayor's email, so now I emailed both of them today, and this is going to be the biggest email chain of all time, but I felt good. It was, it's harder to ignore somebody in person, so it was good to have these meetings. And yeah, JJ's doing good.
Does it look like that he can get a job? Is there anything started, or what's going on?
Yeah, what they're gonna have to do is they have to start these. They start new little individual units, and so they have to buy a building and then retrofit it as a job to actually work there at that site doing something. And so what it looks like they're going to do is do something that's a little more advanced, but then they'll take some of the autistic kids from the easier quote-unquote jobs and move them over. It sounds like you dropped something on the floor. They'll move them over, and then and then JJ will backfill those the previously filled jobs. So it's good. It's we're trying. These meetings don't make me feel great, but it was good. It's yeah.
Yeah, is it the bureaucracy? What doesn't make you feel good about it? Just.
I don't like being the bad guy
Mm-hmm.
and complaining.
Well, you gotta be a Karen sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think all parents kind of feel like this. You get tired of being
Yeah.
the squeaky wheel, but squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Well, I can say that, coming from another country with social programs for people with disabilities, the way the system works is you still have to push.
Yeah, the most
Things are
annoying
there.
parent gets the most attention. I mean, there's a parable in the Bible about the crooked judge who, even though he doesn't care about justice, the widow keeps bothering him so much. He goes, "What do you want? I'm gonna have to fix this lady's problem, otherwise she's just gonna annoy me to death." And so he does the right thing. So that's what it makes me think of.
Sure. Yeah. It's just you have to use the system. You have to push people. It's still run by people who
Yeah.
have a lot on their plate, and you have to make yourself a priority. My mom is very, very good at being assertive. Very, very good at my dad too, but my mom will root around in there. They found this live work play program, and when 20 years ago now, and Peter's been in it ever since, and they got they're the organization that has government funding, and it was able to find him a job, several jobs, his latest job as well, and also hooks him up with a staff member who comes once a week and helps him. Either they go grocery shopping or he helps them clean the house. So he just makes sure cleaning and organizing. Peter had it yesterday. The guy came over and they cleaned and organized his apartment, which is like, it's 500% important. And
Well, and also,
they wouldn't have done that. There's there are kids that have these in Ottawa, in Canada, who have these services available to them, and their parents aren't utilizing all of them because they're not pushing or they're not researching. So.
And I was going to say, he probably interacts different with this guy than he does with your mom, too.
I hope so.
No, I just mean if your mom comes over and goes, clean your apartment, it's more nagging, and I'm sure it's a different dynamic.
Oh, yeah. He, looks up to this guy. He wants to,
They're buddies.
Impress him,
Yeah.
So, totally. So, you were there for what, a week?
I was there a week. We did several days of assembling furniture. His.
I saw the video. It was super cute.
Oh,
and he did like it. You remember when you were last episode? You were like, I think he's gonna like it, and he did like it. You could tell from the video. He's hammering stuff.
That was 7 hours. We did 3 hours a day for 2 days, and he does. There was probably on the back of it. There's 50 nails. He did them all. I didn't do any of the nails. He had one that he put in crooked, and he was very upset about it and made me take it out.
Good for him.
And so I had to go find pliers. It was a whole thing, and I didn't post that part. But
he's a perfectionist.
He wanted it straight, and then he did all the screws, and he's got really strong hands. I told the job guy this. I'm like, we put together furniture 3 or 4 hours a day, and he's, everybody's temperament's very different. He's not like a jovial, laughy, ha-ha. He's just very serious, but I know he liked it because he's engaged. He didn't walk away. I didn't have to nag him. He picked up the tools. He wanted to hold it. He wanted to do it. So it's that's how I know he liked it. It wasn't he was like, Dad, thanks for that moment. He didn't say that, that's for sure.
No.
But
he focused. You could tell he was really focusing on turning
tell, right?
the screwdriver or whatever, or the Allen key, and then the hammering, and he was doing a good job hammering.
The hammering, dude, I couldn't believe it.
It's hard to go straight.
He got him, and then he would straight, and it's the other funny thing is I look very small next to him, which is funny. I don't feel that small except for when I'm in Sweden. And we did a show last night. One of the guys was 6'9", the other guy's 6'2". I'm like, if we got lost in a village, I'm the ugly guy.
You did stand up in Sweden?
Yeah, I was at a Stockholm Comedy Club last night. I was like, I'm the ugly guy in this group. If we if we met two women, you guys would be talking to the girls, and I'd be over in the bushes just watching like a little old man. Anyway, that
You
killed,
look like you could be Swedish, though.
that killed on stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it would work as a joke. Yeah, I guess people talk to me in Swedish, and I'm like, yeah, I don't speak Swedish. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But he's got
You're
very
like,
strong
"Schöngemeldet."
hands, and he's
Yes.
big, and he can. Some of those screws didn't have holes to screw the screw in, so you have to
Yeah.
you have to push. You have
Break
to push.
through. Yeah.
Yeah, and he would do it. Just strong hands. Like his hands are bigger than mine. His wrist. He's just a big kid. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
And
He's a big kid.
I think he would do great at like, So we talked to this guy. I'm like, I think he could assemble furniture at IKEA if he wanted. I don't know. He could.
Was he helping? Could he assemble furniture alone?
Not alone, but I mean, again, we did it for 2 days, and by the end, he got it. So you'd have to, But I don't expect him to get it in 2 days. But if every day he knows you got to.
Yeah. The same one over and
Yeah.
over again he could do.
The screws, I drew a little dot or the nails. I drew a little dot. Put the nail here, and he does it right at the dot. Next dot. Next dot. So it's like I don't know. I wasn't doing any of it.
That's good for you.
Yeah, it was really great.
That worked out. The Smith Boys.
Man, we could have a furniture making company as long as the furniture is already basically made.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he really enjoyed it, and it was really it's on my Instagram if you guys are curious. It's I tried to edit it down as best I could to not put 7 hours on there, but I was really when he's a little kid, I told you this, he really liked putting together shelves, and this was the next step though. This was much harder. Yeah.
What if he was like, he had like a helper, and he would do TaskRabbit, and it could be advertised as like you're hiring someone with a disability.
Yeah, he's
And
gonna have to
then
have
the
somebody
helper.
with him though.
Yeah, a helper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a volunteer or
Mhm.
a Swedish volunteer or someone who's getting half the money or most of the money or all the money, and then I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't really. Not that he doesn't need money, but he doesn't really do anything. So he gets like, he gets
Yeah,
his
that's what I
little
mean.
stipend from the state, and it's like, but it's not like he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't watch cable, he doesn't. He's not going on dates, he's not buying clothes.
Peter drinks and watches cable.
Yeah, cable's $100, bro.
Hmm.
But it was good. It was. He's really hard to find activities, and it was a good, fun activity. I thought. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was a great video. I loved watching it.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It's on Kirk's Instagram.
I don't know if you saw
Kirk Smith
this,
Comedy.
but halfway through, because I kept it in because one of the only things he says like in 3 hours, but he accidentally hits his thumb with a nail and he goes, "Ouch! Are you okay?
Are you okay?"
Yeah,
I
did you
saw
hear
that.
that? Yeah.
And you said it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I like his voice.
It's interesting, right? Like he does his tones thing where he copies people's tone.
Well, he sounds like an American.
Yeah.
And it's he's got a sweet voice.
I can't
He's
get
a bigger
over
guy.
how big he is.
Yeah.
It's just weird to look at a video like, who's this old guy with this normal sized person? Oh, I'm the little guy in this video. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's weird.
Hey.
That was another thing I said on stage last night that really worked well, but I don't think I could recreate the moment. But I'm like, my son's going bald. Like, how old am I where my son is bald?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you could see just the way he's built, and we like had to move some of the furniture. It's easy for him. He's strong.
Yeah.
He's
Are
strong.
you proud?
Yeah, I think he could do something. I think he could. I'm serious. I think he could. I don't know.
Of course he could do something.
Assemble
For
some
sure.
sort of furniture thing and then move it around and like, yeah. So I know I'm tying it back to this job thing, but that's been my kind of focus for him. He's 20. He'll be 25 this year, and I just want him to have something to like. Because I was talking to one of his aides, and she was like, there's 4 main people that work with him, and then some people that sub in and stuff, but and they're all kind of different. It's kind of nice. They all kind of have different strengths, but and the way she said it was, sometimes when you translate from another language, you translate direct and it sounds weird, but also it sounds kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's insightful. And
Yeah.
she's like, he's a man. Is this what he's going to be with his life? He needs a job. He needs a purpose. And you're like, oh, wow. When you say it like that, you're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So really like lit a fire under me to like try to get him his purpose, so to speak. You know?
Well, you should have been like, okay, get him one. Man.
Well, we're all trying. Yeah, I mean, really, as the dad, I'm the one that's got to,
Yeah.
They're
Well,
they're
you're doing a
supposed
great
to.
job.
Yeah,
Considering
they're supposed to.
you're in a different continent. You're doing a great job.
The next step is we can escalate it to. They have like a oversight thing, and obviously, the commune doesn't. They get fined by the government. The community does. The city gets fined by the government. The federal government basically if they're not doing their job. And I don't want to do that because I feel like I don't want to take more money out of the community. I mean, even though it's within the Swedish government, I just want them to do it. But at the same time, I don't have a lot of options of how to get your attention. I've asked you and asked you and asked you, and I've been patient. I've been a good Christian boy and waited, and it's got me.
What
not
are they
very much.
saying?
Well, that's what the meeting was about. So that was the big meeting. So
What did they say? They said, "Well, we'll do it."
well, I just want you to know it is a priority, and my boss knows this, and he says we all agree with you. We all agree 100%, and we all say yes. And I was like, yeah, but if you ask out a girl and she goes, yes, I'd like to go out with you, and then you go, okay, you want to go out Friday? No, Friday I'm busy. Okay, how about in 2 months? In 2 months I'm getting my hair done. All right, 3 months. Well, that means no. If you can't say yes, but then nothing ever happens, that's still
Did you
a
say
no.
that?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What'd they say?
He laughed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's like, yeah, it's true. Because.
Yeah, it's true. No. Bye-bye, American.
Yeah,
I don't know what accent
but
that
the
was.
fine is like they get fined like $50,000 if they don't do it. So I think I said I'm gonna email some people and then
And it's not going to come out of their salary.
no, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
What can you do, though? Yeah, well, look.
I said what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna email his boss, and then if we don't have something in a few weeks, I'm gonna have to escalate it. Like if they don't have at least a plan and the date. Hey, we're targeting June 1st to have because, and I told him that too. And I'm like, in 6 months, you might be the mayor. You guys leave and you keep getting promoted, and then nothing happens back here on the ground where I'm trying to get this stuff done. He thought that was funny too. I'm like, I'm not trying to be funny. Where were you at my show last night? No, I'm joking. Show was good. You'd enjoy Sweden. You'd fit right in. You're 6'4". Me and the other uggos are gonna go hide in the back.
Yeah, you 6'2" shrimp. This is definitely, I can say without question, the tallest podcast about autism out there.
It's not even close, honestly. We're the only podcast about autism over 6'2". Barely, but the average was 6'3", 6'2" plus 6'4", 6'3".
We used to be the only podcast, period. But now we're the only podcast about autism.
Oh, about autism, yeah, for sure.
And now we're one of many. We're trailblazers.
I had to sell you on it. You were like, "Who's going to listen to this?" And I'm like, "There's a lot of people, bro. Unfortunately,
yeah,
it's a big tribe of people that don't want to be involved in this."
I'm finally coming around to it, Kirk. Like, you know what? I think we should do this podcast. Yeah,
took 6 years and a documentary.
I also didn't want to write jokes about it, and I'm finally writing jokes about it.
And now you're doing a one-man show about it on Broadway.
One-man show about it, and I had my first go at it.
How was that?
It was great. A lot of people came out that it was a small crowd, but it was like it's a small venue, and but I had like people come out that who have autism in their life.
Yeah.
Like people with, autistic children or autistic siblings. And I thought I really they were so supportive and nice. I'm going to cry thinking about it. I love those type of people. And yeah, it was, I'm proud. The show's not done yet. It was just sort of like a workout show. But it's coming along, man. I'm really proud of it, and I'm working with my producer to find a venue this summer, to do it all summer at, and we're excited about it. I'm really excited about it. And the weird thing is like, I played some of Peter's voicemails, and brought down the house.
Hey.
People love it. People love Pete. He's like the most lovable guy. I told Peter I was doing a show about him, and he was like, "Well, what does that mean? What do you say about me?" And I say, I tell people how cool you are. And he goes, "Okay, like, what else?" And I'm like, "Well, I'd say how cool, great you are, and how I learned stuff from you." And he's like, "Well, what do you learn from me?" And I learn about life. I learn how to put things in perspective, and how to work hard, and how to be happy, and how to be patient. And then he was like, "Okay, I did talk too much in high school." And I'm like, "Okay, so I think you were fine in high school." He's like, "Well, teachers have changed." And I'm like, "All right, so we're back on this." Yeah.
That's sweet, man. That's really
Yeah.
sweet.
It was nice. Should we do in the news?
Yeah, let's do it. Sorry, I'm just quiet. I'm just
Time.
listening. I was just thinking about that. They're trying to explain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because people ask me all the time. Sorry, we'll do the news in 1 second. I was just going to say, people all the time ask me, like, oh, and I think it's just because they're trying to connect with me. They're not I don't know if they actually think through their questions before they ask them, but they go, oh, I'm on a cruise ship somewhere. Where is he? He's in your cabin? I'm like, well, he's like, pretty disabled. Like, somebody have to watch him. He's not, I can't just let him wander around, the cruise ship. And they'll ask questions like, yeah, well, what does he think of your comedy? And I'm like, I mean, he doesn't really talk. Like, he's really he's a 25-year-old man that's really into Christian cartoons and VeggieTales and, Barney and Blue's Clues. I don't know if the nuance of stand-up is something he could, and I'm not making fun of him, obviously, at all. It's just not something in his wheelhouse. And so...
No, Peter doesn't get stand-up.
Yeah.
He just waits for other people to laugh and then laughs.
I think what your brother likes about it, that my son does like, is when there's a big group and everybody's having a good time. He's like looking around. He's like, "Great, we're having a good time. It's good times."
Yeah, totally. He does. He likes.
It's
likes
good times.
It's
Which
nice.
I got to be honest, is kind of where I'm at in my life too. I'm like, we're having fun. Good. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Everything's okay for right now, at least.
Some comedians are trying to be really whatever, and I'm trying to, let's have a fun time. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
These are honest jokes.
Peter was wearing a pin. So he goes to comedy shows. I've said this before on this podcast, but his, live work play takes them to their, sometimes as a fun activity. They'll go to a restaurant or they'll go to the movies. Sometimes they'll go to a comedy club. And at the end of the comedy show, he walks up to the headliner and stands too close to him probably and says, "I know my brother's Graham K." And then they kind of just have to figure it out.
And
I was
hopefully
walking
they know
with
who you are.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not somebody too famous. Jerry Seinfeld's like, okie dokie.
Yeah. Luckily, Canadian comedy's small enough. They usually do. But like I was like, I went home this past Sunday. I bought a car. Drove up.
No, we kind of buried the lead. What's going on with this car? It made it.
I think we talked about it last episode, but
we did.
It did make it. It made it all the way up and back.
To Canada.
I had a college gig near the Canadian border, so I ended up sleeping at my parents' house after the show and staying all Sunday and having dinner there. Did
you take old Peter for a car ride?
I didn't take him for a car ride.
Not yet. Okay.
Wasn't interested. But yeah, what was I saying? What was I talking about?
Nuances of stand-up.
Oh yeah, he's wearing a pin.
Yeah.
A comedian's pin, and I was like, "What's that?" And it's just this. It was like this random Canadian comedian's
pin. Some guy who came
pin.
through. Yeah.
And gave him merch, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah. So I messaged the guy. He was like, "Hey, your brother's awesome."
I actually really like. I think it's I kind of do a joke, or I do a little, not a joke really. It's just a little throwaway line between the last 2 or 3 autism jokes in my show where I go, oh, I talk about autism. It's important for people to normalize disability, and it's important for people to see disabled people. Everybody's very different, and we're all God's children. But it is true. I like the idea of a bunch of disabled people going to just being out, because then it puts the onus on the comedian to not make fun of disabled people. There's a freaking group of them right here, you ding dong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
If the comedians, they go, hey, just so you know, every few weeks we get a group of, it's so just please don't do that. Oh, okay. Most comedians aren't trying to make people have a bad time.
Yeah. Should we do it?
We got distracted. Yeah. What do you want to do? We could have done it. We could do it in the news if you want to just sum it up real quick, or we could do it save for next week. Whatever you want to do.
Oh yeah, because we're already kind of out of time. Yeah. Maybe we should save it for next week.
All right. This was sent in to us, Sarah. We're gonna do your article next week. Long-time listener and supporter.
Well,
of our Patreon.
We do. It'd be weird if we didn't do in the news, right? We always do in the news.
Let's do it real quick. We've got time.
I'll do it quick. All right, here we go. Buckle up.
I'm ready.
This is from the New York Times. I think
We're doing Graham subscription
because
I certainly don't have it.
I make a lot of money. Enjoy your ride. Kids with autism have a message for transit riders. Transit agencies across the country are broadcasting public service announcements recorded by children with autism for Autism Awareness Month. It was last month. When Allison Chang, 7, recently recorded a public service message asking New York City subway riders.
April. Oh my God! On this, sorry.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Ugh. I got them. I was home just recently and I got the month wrong in front of my mom.
That's funny.
And she was like, "It's April. You have the memory. You're like your father. You have the memory of a goldfish."
Thanks, Mom. Can I have more potatoes?
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Alice Chang, subway riders not hold the train doors open. He added his own personal greeting to the beginning. What's up, chicken wing? I like that. You imagine being on the New York subway and some kid was like, what's up, chicken wing? I'd pay attention. Anyway, the reason for the poultry-themed salutation, that past week we may or may not have had chicken wings, he explained in the interview. Benjamin Ruiz, 6, was given a template for the public service announcement using New York commuters to please not litter and keep their hands and feet inside the train at all times, but he rewrote the script to make it his own. The final version, which he recorded a couple of hours after his bedtime on his mother's phone, included a cheery sign-off. Remember to be kind and a happy New York City day. Remember to be kind and have a happy New York City day, Benjamin says. Bye. Have a good day. I think that's nice. Benjamin and Allison were 2 of the approximately 100 boys and girls with autism who recorded public service announcements for the transit system in New Jersey, New York, San Francisco, Atlanta, Washington, for April. Although not every child's recording made the final cut, the project has aimed to broaden acceptance of children with autism and to give them a chance to have their voices broadcast at train stations, which many of them adore. Many children with autism focus intensely on the technical aspects of trains and buses. Subway maps, train schedules, and Jonathan Chitter, co-founder of the Foundry of Learning Center, a school for children with developmental disabilities in Manhattan, and the driving force behind the public service announcements. Side note, Kirk, do you remember that guy, the guy with autism in New York who would steal buses and drive and steal subway trains?
Yeah.
And he would make all the stops. He would do like a great job.
I love the making all the stops part. That's
he makes all the stops. He did all the announcements. He knew the schedule by heart. He knew how to operate it by heart already because he did research.
I had to ride 2 trains today in Sweden, and actually, I got to say, it's a different experience over there. But it is nice. A train can be nice.
Oh, I love it. A
well-run train can be very, very nice.
When you fund public services for like big groups like that, it's the best. Like a big train like a fast train.
Yeah.
No traffic. It is so relaxing. It's so much
There's a
less
bathroom
stressful.
on there. Seriously. There's a
There's a bathroom.
You don't-
Someone
you
brings
don't-
you coffee.
Yeah, they have coffee for. You don't want to use the bathroom, but if you have to, like, I mean, I'm not saying that's the solution on the subway in New York
most
City.
of them are
but
clean.
you're gonna have to have a bathroom eventually for these people. Whatever. Anyway.
Children with autism also latch onto phrases they hear in spaces where they are intensely focused and use them as some of their first means of communication, Mr. Tricker said. As a result, it is not unusual for a child in New York City who is on the spectrum to have as his or her first full sentence something like, "Stand clear of the closing doors, please," Mr. Tricker said, reciting the familiar warning that plays throughout the city's subway system. That phenomenon, he said, gave him the idea to pitch the children's announcements to the Metropolitan Transportation Authority in New York. I love it so much, which was the first agency to broadcast them last April. Mr. Trichter said he spread the word about the project on Facebook and accepted any recording that were sent to him. It was then up to the transit agencies to decide which ones they wanted to use. Transit officials said they were glad to support the project. What? What?
Just scratch your nose just made me laugh because I usually do stuff like that. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, well, I caught myself. You wouldn't have caught yourself. You would have kept talking off the mic.
No, I would have put some peanuts in my mouth and crunched them really loud.
Yeah. I would have to yell at you. We know that children on the spectrum are some of our biggest fans, said James Ellison, a spokesman for Bay Area Rapid Transit, which has played the children's announcements on all 50 stations this month. It seemed like a natural thing, and what a great way to give them thrill. Peter, by the way, he used to love trains. Him and my dad made train sets. And
I remember. I've seen the pictures.
They wore little hats. They both had a train hat, and they would hang them on a hook, and they'd go in there and work on it.
I don't
Just
see
the cutest thing in the world.
That's great.
Oh my! If you did, you'd be a Nazi. The announcements were not only gratifying for children and their families; they were also a morale boost for transit agencies, which were often the target of complaints, said Kevin S. Corbett, the president of chief executive of the Jersey Transit Riders. Have noticed, he said, this sort of throws people off the regular routine and catches their attention, Mr. Corbett said. It's definitely gotten a really happy feel for a lot of people, much more than any of us have expected. That's good. For Brenna, Calls of New York, it was special to watch her son, Morgan 6, write his own announcement. Morgan could not make eye contact or speak when he was younger. Read and recorded the statement over and over until he got it the way he wanted. He wanted it. Recently, Mrs. Kales took Morgan to the East 188th Street in the Bronx, where they waited for an hour to hear his message. The announcements are playing in 50-minute intervals at 11 major stations in New York, according to the MTA. Hello, passengers, Morgan said in his announcement. My name is Morgan Callis, and I am 6 years old. I love trains and buses. Today, the MTA is letting me share an important announcement. If you see someone at the risk of falling under the tracks, please get help immediately. Tell a police officer or an MTA employee. Be safe and happy Autism Awareness Month. Morgan called it a super duper 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 exciting. Mrs. Callis was also moved. It's very special to me because so many times kids on the spectrum don't have a voice, and we as parents end up being their voice, she said. They don't get the recognition they deserve. The children's recordings, Mrs. Callis said, show there are so many different types of people on the spectrum, and they're all different. Lisa Stevens, who lives in Atlanta, said her son, Emmanuel, 7, recorded his announcement for the Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority 12 or 13 times before declaring, "Okay, Mom, this is the one we're going to send." Attaboy. Emmanuel's sing-song voice, urging riders not to litter and telling them, "Hope you enjoy the ride," reflects his personality, Mrs. Stevens said. I am so proud of him to the point of almost tears, she said. He's naturally friendly and outgoing, and it's just amazing to see his growth and potential. On Monday, Emmanuel and his family rode the Red Line to Airport Station to watch planes take off and land to hear their announcements he and other children have recorded play over this public address system. It was great, Emmanuel said in an interview. It felt like something in my heart saying, "That's you, Emmanuel. You are so awesome." And the other kids, we were cheering them on. Anyway, pretty nice stuff, eh, Kirk?
Right at the very end, I took out my thing out of my good ear, but I heard you say we're cheering them on. I think it's a great article.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope your earbuds are back in so you can hear me.
Yeah, sorry.
Because we are recording a podcast.
I know. The good one fell out. Sometimes when I open my mouth, my ear holes are too big and the stupid things don't fit. Anyway, it's a whole thing.
You know what? AirPods, they're not for big boys like us.
No, they don't quite fit.
I had to discard them and get a different brand with bigger holes for big boys.
Yeah,
because they would just fall out.
Your whole podcast. That'd be a whole different podcast. Mm-hmm. It's not what you think, people.
It would be a different crowd,
different demographic. If you're interested in that one, we did get. I should read the. We go through phases where we get a lot of mail, and then phases where we get less. Right now, we're going through a less phase, but we did have this article sent to us from Sarah and Roger F. Forwarded this article in the Times, and then they also. I'm going to read the rest of the email they said. Below's an article about children with autism provided to public service. Yep. Maybe you heard the PSA in the tram. Okay. Roger, that's your husband, and I did some flying this month, and the PDX, that's Portland's airport, we discovered a sensitivity room, gate D17. It's a large, peaceful room with lights that can be turned up and down. There's soft furniture, beanbags, a couch, carpet, and no sound except for running water feature that you can turn on and off. It's an escape for people with autism, brain injuries, and the like. Have a super trip with JJ. Yeah, it's very interesting. So if you live in the Portland area with your little campers and you're going through, there is a quiet room that you can come and disturb the peace in.
That's cool. That's great. Well, Kirk, I'd like to tell the audience to donate to our Patreon. patreon.com/autastic. That's the name of this podcast. And you can donate $1 an episode or $5 an episode. You don't get anything for doing it. You used to, but you do get the knowledge.
That's not true. If you donate on there and you want a sticker, just drop me a line, Kirk Smith Comedy. I'd be happy to send you one of these classy unicorn stickers I have. I will throw them in the mail, stamps on me.
Oh, yeah. And I will send you my merch. How about that? I will also send you a car air freshener that teaches you to drive safe. It has a picture of me, and it also has a QR code to my latest comedy special.
Smart.
So you can watch that for free.
Very smart.
Yeah. And the scent is Paris Hilton.
That's less smart.
Yeah.
Paris
it
Hilton,
smells.
the socialite or the Latino guy who was worked for TMZ? Which Paris Hilton?
Both.
A long pause.
Yeah,
that was a long pause.
Yeah.
Guys, as always, please subscribe to my YouTube and add me on Facebook. I'd really appreciate it. And Graham's too. He'd love to get your Instagram follows. Anything else you'll plug, Grahamo? If this gets
just
out
sign
in time,
up for my
sign
up for my email list so I can let you know when I'm in town.
I think we're gonna be getting this podcast out tomorrow. You can still catch Graham K this week, and tell them what you're doing, Graham, this weekend. Where you at?
Oh, I'm at Stir Crazy in Arizona, and then
what city in Arizona, Graham?
I don't know.
It's a big place.
It's
Phoenix?
Outside Phoenix, Glendale.
Yeah, it's Phoenix.
Glendale, Phoenix area.
28,
29 of April. But next week I'm going to be in Club Comedy Seattle. That is May 5th and 6th, and come see me there. And I'd love it if you said hello. I'm also going to be opening for Nate Bargatze at Red Rocks in Colorado. That's that big outdoor amphitheater. And I'm pretty excited about that. That's a big deal for old Grandma.
Hey, that's awesome. All right, guys, that's it. Have a great week. You can do it.